Did you know what Jesus said about prayer? In the 1st century, prayer was not informal. It was regulated. Fixed hours, fixed locations, fixed language. The temple structured devotion. Synagogues preserved tradition. Pharisees modeled visible piety. Rome ruled the land, but prayer defined identity. To pray was to signal belonging. To pray publicly was to signal righteousness. But when Jesus spoke of prayer, he did not reinforce performance. He reoriented access. Not toward spectacle. Not toward proximity to sacred stone, but toward the Father. This episode follows his words. Only his words. Spoken in history, recorded in Scripture. From the mountain to Gethsemane. Chronologically, faithfully, without commentary. This is what he said about prayer, and what it meant. The hillside is crowded. Disciples gather close while the larger crowd listens from below. In 1st century Judea, visible devotion often defined religious reputation. Public prayer in synagogues and streets displayed piety and secured honor before the community. Matthew 6 verses 5 to 6. And when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and in the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men. But thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret. Prayer is relocated. Not abolished, but redirected. Visibility had created status within an honor-shame society, where religious performance could elevate reputation. Jesus removes the audience. He removes comparison. The act remains, but the stage disappears. Prayer becomes unseen allegiance. Not performance before men, but approach to the Father. The crowd expects instruction about righteousness. Instead, they receive a structure for prayer. Not elaborate formulas, but a pattern that begins beyond personal need. Matthew 6 verses 9 to 10. After this manner therefore pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth, as it is in heaven. In the 1st century, the word kingdom carried political weight. Herod ruled locally. Rome ruled absolutely. Authority was visible in soldiers, taxes, and imperial law. To pray for another kingdom was not abstract language. It quietly redirected loyalty. Prayer begins with alignment: name, kingdom, will. Allegiance precedes request. Many listening on the hillside lived under economic pressure. Roman taxation, unstable harvests, and land ownership concentrated among elites made survival uncertain for ordinary villagers. Matthew 6 verse 11. Give us this day our daily bread. The request is small but revealing. Not abundance. Not future security. Daily sustenance. In a region where grain could be collected as tax and redistributed through imperial systems, bread represented vulnerability. Prayer acknowledges that fragility. Provision is not assumed. It is asked. Debt structured the ancient world. Economic obligations, honor debts, and religious expectations intertwined within daily life. Matthew 6 verse 12. And forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. To pray this publicly required reflection. Forgiveness disrupted the cycles that sustained hierarchy and retaliation. Prayer does not remain vertical. It reshapes horizontal relationships as well. Mercy received must become mercy given. In this pattern, prayer becomes both confession and social transformation. In ancient households, fathers defined security, inheritance, and protection. Their authority shaped the stability of family life. Matthew 7 verses 9 to 11. If ye then, being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more shall your Father which is in heaven give good things to them that ask him? God is addressed as Father, not distant ruler, not unpredictable deity. Access replaces fear. Petition replaces appeasement. Prayer becomes relational trust grounded in the character of the one addressed. As crowds grow, expectations intensify. Miracles attract attention, and attention brings pressure. Luke 5 verse 16. And he withdrew himself into the wilderness, and prayed. Before public expansion comes private retreat. In a culture where leaders gathered influence by staying visible, withdrawal becomes unexpected. Solitude is not escape from mission. It sustains it. Prayer precedes movement. Influence grows from unseen communion. Bread multiplies in the wilderness. Thousands are fed from a small provision. The miracle ignites national expectation. John 6 verse 15. He departed again into a mountain himself alone. The crowd recognizes the symbolism. Bread in the desert recalls Moses. A provider king could challenge Rome's rule. Yet the response is withdrawal, not coronation. Prayer interrupts political momentum. Communion replaces revolution. Those closest to him observe a consistent pattern. Prayer is frequent, intentional, and deliberate. Luke 11 verses 1 to 2. Lord, teach us to pray. When ye pray, say, Our Father which art in heaven. Even disciples require instruction. Prayer is not assumed instinct. Dependence must be learned. Posture must be taught. Access to the Father is simple, but not automatic. Village life operated through mutual responsibility. Hospitality protected communal honor, and refusing a request risked social embarrassment. Luke 11 verses 8 to 9. Though he will not rise and give him, because he is his friend, yet because of his importunity he will rise. Ask, and it shall be given you, seek, and ye shall find. Persistence is not disrespect. It is confidence that the door can open. Prayer assumes availability. Even inconvenient hours do not cancel access. Midnight becomes an image of trust that refuses silence. Jerusalem's skyline is dominated by the temple. For many pilgrims, prayer is inseparable from location and sacred architecture. Mark 11 verse 24. What things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. Belief is internal. The temple is external. Authority shifts again, from sacred space to the trust placed in the one addressed. Prayer is not proximity to stone walls. It is confidence in God. The temple courts are familiar ground for public devotion. Pilgrims pray within sight of priests, sacrifices, and crowds. In a society structured by honor and reputation, visible righteousness often shaped how a person was perceived. Luke 18 verses 11 to 13. The Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself, God, I thank thee, that I am not as other men are. And the publican, standing afar off, would not lift up so much as his eyes unto heaven, but smote upon his breast, saying, God be merciful to me a sinner. Two men pray, but their posture reveals more than their words. One speaks confidently, listing virtue and distinction. The other stands at a distance, aware of his condition. Prayer here exposes the hierarchy of the heart. Not vocabulary, not volume, but humility determines the outcome. Luke records the conclusion clearly: one returns home justified. The other does not. Jerusalem fills with pilgrims during festival seasons. Currency exchanges hands. Animals are sold for sacrifice. The temple complex functions not only as a religious center but also as an economic engine. Mark 11 verse 17. Is it not written, My house shall be called of all nations the house of prayer? But ye have made it a den of thieves. The temple represented national identity, covenant memory, and religious authority. Yet its courts had become crowded with transactions that restricted access. Prayer was meant to welcome the nations. Commerce had replaced invitation. By reclaiming the purpose of the temple, the focus returns to its intended function. Not profit. Not control. A house designed for prayer becomes again a place of approach. Beyond the central regions of Judea and Galilee, cultural boundaries become visible. Ethnic divisions, language differences, and purity codes shape interaction. Matthew 15 verse 22. Have mercy on me, O Lord, thou Son of David. A woman approaches from outside Israel's covenant identity. Her request crosses cultural lines that normally separated communities. Matthew 15 verse 28. O woman, great is thy faith, be it unto thee even as thou wilt. Persistence defines the moment. Silence does not end the request. Prayer here crosses boundary and expectation. Faith appears where tradition might not expect it. Occupation often produced injustice. Courts could be influenced by power, and the poor had little leverage to defend themselves. Luke 18 verses 7 to 8. And shall not God avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them? I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. The parable centers on persistence. A widow continues to return to a judge who initially refuses her case. The story highlights endurance rather than intensity. Prayer continues even when answers seem delayed. The final question lingers beyond the parable. When the Son of Man returns, will faith still be found? A respected young ruler approaches with sincerity. His question concerns eternal life and the path toward righteousness. Mark 10 verse 21. One thing thou lackest, go thy way, sell whatsoever thou hast, and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come, follow me. Though not framed as a formal prayer, the conversation reveals a deeper request: what must be done to secure life beyond the present world? The response does not add a ritual. It exposes an attachment. True allegiance requires transfer of trust, from possessions to the one being followed. The region of Caesarea Philippi is marked by shrines and imperial symbolism. Pagan temples and political monuments dominate the landscape. Matthew 16 verses 15 to 16. But whom say ye that I am? Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. Before prayer can be understood, identity must be recognized. Petition depends on knowing who is being addressed. Among temples dedicated to other gods and emperors, a different confession emerges. Recognition becomes the foundation of faith. Prayer rests on revealed authority. The disciples attempt a healing but fail. Confusion replaces confidence, and the limits of their authority become visible. Matthew 17 verses 20 to 21. Because of your unbelief, this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. Proximity to Jesus did not guarantee power. Participation in the mission still required dependence. Prayer sustains the authority that mission requires. Without it, effort becomes insufficient. Faith is not spectacle. It is reliance continually renewed. Jerusalem is tense as Passover approaches. Political anxiety fills the city, and the final meal with the disciples unfolds under quiet anticipation. Luke 22 verses 31 to 32. Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, but I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not. Before failure occurs, prayer has already taken place. Intercession precedes the coming trial. Leadership here includes unseen protection. Strength is sustained through prayer offered in advance. Even when faith falters under pressure, it is not abandoned. Night settles over the olive groves outside Jerusalem. The city grows quiet while tension rises among those gathered in the garden. Matthew 26 verse 41. Watch and pray, that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. Fatigue presses heavily on the disciples. Fear and uncertainty make alertness difficult. Prayer becomes preparation for what is coming. Awareness protects against collapse. Human resolve may weaken, but vigilance sustained through prayer remains essential. Among the olive trees of the garden, the final moment of solitude unfolds. Torches approach in the distance as the night moves toward a rest. Matthew 26 verse 39. O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me, nevertheless not as I will, but as thou wilt. Prayer reaches its deepest expression here. The request is honest, yet the conclusion is surrender. Not escape. Not avoidance. Alignment. In a land ruled by empire and filled with expectation of revolution, submission becomes the path forward. Prayer ends where the human will yields to the will of the Father. In the first century, prayer was not casual speech. It was structured, timed, public. Voices rose in synagogues. Hands lifted in courts. Words repeated in rhythm. But in his teaching, prayer was not display. It was hidden. Not rehearsed for men. Not anchored to stone. Not secured by volume. Prayer was access. To call God Father, under Roman rule, was not formula. It was reorientation. To ask for daily bread, in taxed villages, was dependence. To forgive in prayer, was social disruption. To persist at midnight, was confidence in hearing. To surrender in a garden, was obedience without escape. Spoken on hillsides, whispered in solitude, commanded in courts, agonized beneath olive trees. Recorded, preserved, repeated. And it still confronts the same reality. When pressure rises, where do you turn? Until the next question.